Hey everybody, it's Boardman21, and today's build is going to be a Druid Avalanche build, in which we are using a solo companion, the Bear, for retaliation. We're going to be running Avalanche as our main damage dealer, and we're going to be mastered in the Druid. We will not be using the werebear, but we will still be super tanky, and we'll be using both Entangling Roots, and we will be using eterras Blessing to buff and heal ourselves. It turns out Entangling Roots is still decently good at healing, although you can't be in 3 patches at once, but you can also use eterras Blessing to, one, heal you when you cast it, then heal you over time for 4 seconds, and then it heals you automatically at the end. So you get 4 seconds worth of heals out of that, and you can get 250 armor and protections out of it. You can get 4% spell global leech, which works for Avalanche, and you can get some increased physical damage out of it, which is really good for Avalanche since it's a physical spell. Now, if you don't want to run Entangling Roots and eterras Blessing, you can also run Swipe in this skill setup, and you can use Swipe for the global damage, global crit multiplier, and global crit, and Avalanche will crit more often. We also tried running the Frenzy Totem and doing it tethered, so you get that 250% crit chance. But what we found was the Frenzy Totem died too often, and Swipe just meant you had to be too close to combat in the 200 plus wave area, and it was just easier to run Avalanche as the damage skill itself and run around and just heal yourself. The Bear also, with its retaliation, will do quite a bit, and when you get hit by ranged things or get hit at all, Ice Thorns automatically procs that extra armor, and that was super helpful as well. With that, let's go ahead and get into the skills. For skills, we are running Entangling Roots, eterras Blessing, Summon Bear, Ice Thorns, and Avalanche. For Entangling Roots, we have it set up to heal for the maximum duration. It also gives us some bonus to damage. So we have 4 points in Nourish, 1 point in Bountiful Harvest, 1 point in Mana Bloom, 3 points in Fleeting Grove, 2 points in Imbued Sap, 3 points in Groove Master, 1 point in Reclamation, and 5 points in Lasting Briar. For eterras Blessing, we are using this for defense, for healing, and for offense. So we have 5 points in Safeguard. This is for 250 armor and protections when we cast it on ourselves. So what this does is you get 250 armor and protections, obviously, but that's also increased by all your percentage increases. So like the 125% increase that we get when we crit, that affects this as well. So we have about 200% increased armor and protections. So we actually get about 750 armor and protections from this instead of 250. So this is a huge skill to put 5 points into. We then have 3 points in Embolden for that 75% increased spell damage on your next cast, which will be Avalanche. And then we have 2 points in Lifestream for that spell health leech of 4%. That means that Avalanche will be giving us 4% of all of its damage into health. We have 4 points in Improved Blessing so that we can put 1 point in Effluence, which will give us healing over time, and then 1 point in Regrowth, so it heals again when the 4 seconds of Effervescence ends. We also have 2 points in Ardent Touch, 1 point in Binding Heal, so every time you use it, even if it hits someone else, it will self-heal you a bit. And this was mostly to put the 1 point in Triage, which will automatically target the lowest health ally. This does increase the mana cost a little bit, but it's still decently cheap. And the reason we want this note is you will have a really hard time targeting eterras Blessing, especially when you're running around, and if you accidentally click on any of the totems you've summoned or on your bear, you're not the one getting the armor and procs. So you want to target yourself, and sometimes it just targets whatever. Now if you click this, you would think, oh, lowest health, that means your bear's dying or your totem's dying. Well, in truth, totems and bears have a lot more health than you do. That's why they can take more damage. They still die really often, but it's because they're not constantly being healed, they don't have as much leech as you, and they definitely don't have the armor and protections that we have. But we have 833 health. Our minions have over 2,000. Our bear has somewhere between like 4,000 and 5,000 health. So until they actually get really low on health, granted that we're still at full health, it's going to target us. And as our health goes down, it's even more likely to keep targeting us, because they're less likely to have less health than us. So by taking 1 point in this, you will target yourself more likely than not, and this will help you keep the armor and protections up. Also, on a side note, if you don't want to put these 4 points in because you think you can target it just fine, I recommend doing the cleanse and the out of mana. We didn't have enough points to do this, but this way you can still heal yourself even if you're out of mana, which comes great against bosses when you run out of mana from Entangling Roots and Avalanche and you still want to be able to heal yourself. And obviously cleansing your own ailments is just overpowered as hell. So if you get slowed down or you have 20 stacks of poison or bleed, boom, you cast this out and all of that's gone. We have Summon Bear. Bear we're using as a retaliation bear, so we have the 3 points in Thick Hide, 1 point in Retaliatory Thorns, 3 points in Winged Thorns, 1 point in Lacerating Claws, 1 point in Thorn Bear, 2 points in Barbed Thorns, 1 point in Ursine Endurance, and the 5 points in Nightshade Bear for that 100% poison. Normally, I then spend 4 points and do the 100% bleed as well. But in this case, I decided to change it up a little bit. I put 1 extra point in the Winged Thorns, and then I put 2 points in Rabid Thorns and 1 point in Piercing Thorns to make them pierce. I've been kind of experimenting around with that, and I feel like the Piercing does more, especially against trash mobs, because it will just clear them all out basically instantly. Single target bosses are basically the same. You know, against single target, I kind of wish I still had the bleed, but you can't switch back that fast on the fly. We then have Ice Thorns for defense. We have it set up to proc on hit, or when hit, so we have 3 points in Dagger Thorns, 2 points in Bramble Armor, and 4 points in Spell Thorns. This gives us a 40% chance when we get hit to proc Ice Thorns. 3 points in Bulb Shield, so it has a 30% chance to recast, 1 point in Anil, 1 point in Thorn Shield, 3 points in Bark Shield for more armor and cold protection, and 3 points in Eternal Protection to make each cast of it last 90% longer, which gives you a 1.9 second shield. And then for Avalanche, our damage dealer, this is a cast and forget. Since we're obviously kiting a bunch, we're not going to channel it, we're going to use it as a cast and forget. So we have 1 point in Mountain Peak, 1 point in Precision, 1 point in Wild Path, so it's no longer channeled, and it has a 10-second cooldown. We then have 4 points in Unyielding Storm to increase its duration, so it will last now 9.6 seconds of its 10-second cooldown. So you basically always have boulders falling down. And then we have 1 point in Hailstorm, so it follows us wherever we go. We then have 2 points in Explosive Impact for more avalanche and boulder impact area. We have 3 points in Intensity for fall speed, 4 points in boulder frequency. We tried 1 point in Pummeling to create a fissure whenever 5 boulders hit the same enemy. That crashed the computer. I would recommend not trying that. I mean, you could try it and watch it happen, but I recommend not using it, especially in the arena. And then we have 3 points in Alpine Guide, so that every time we crit, we summon an additional boulder. When we were running Swipe and the Thorn or Frenzy Totem, we had about 100% crit. So every boulder coming down was proccing another boulder, and the damage was pretty insane. Unfortunately, we just didn't make it above 200 in the arena with that because the Frenzy Totem was always dying, and swiping being close to enemies, we just weren't leeching enough and healing enough while trying to do that to survive. For items, you will notice this will be my first all unique free build. We are not using the Plague Bearer Staff. Yes, I know, that's unheard of for me. I tried it, it didn't work as well. I did try it. But we are running instead the Imbued Slayer's Divine Scepter of Hope and the Ocean. Basically we're running a top-based item Scepter. On it we have increased spell damage. We do have melee critical strike chance on it, which you can change out for something else since we're not even using Swipe in this build anymore. And then we have mana regen and some protections. We have set elemental protections and vitality, basically all protections on all of our jewelry. There's no damage bonus to anything that we have here. It's all protections. On our amulet, we did get 150% increased minion health instead of vitality. For our helm, more protections, and then if you craft, better than the 20% critical strike points would be increased armor protections. We have that on our chest piece, we also have it on our belt. And then running the catalyst, we're running this for the spell critical strike chance, and then we put critical strike multiplier and chance on along with some T5 protections, which was really helpful. For our boots, we went with a little move speed. You don't need the health. You could do double protections if you want. We don't really need to move, but you do have to get T5 Glancing Blow on 4 items in order to get that 100% Glancing Blow. So we have it on our gloves, we have it on our boots, we have it on our belt, and we have it on our helm. was just enough for us to achieve that 100% glancing blow. And then we also have, as you can see, a massive amount of armor protections. Just sitting here with the bear out, we have 74 to 79%. When we have a totem active, we get a huge amount of armor increase. We get 115% through passives, I believe. When we crit, we get 125% increase. And then when we cast Eterras Blessing on ourselves, like we'll do here, you can see it jumps up even more. You get that 250 base, which is increased by all the percentages. For passives, we have 20 points in the Primalist base class. We have 7 points in Natural Attunement, 1 point in Primal Strength, 1 point in Hunter's Restoration, 6 points in Survival of the Pack, 1 point in Ancient Call, 4 points in Tempest Born. And Beastmaster, we have 16 points. We have 1 point in Savagery, 1 point in Ambush, 1 point in Arter's Loyalty, 5 points in Boar Heart, and 4 points in Ursine Strength. We also have 4 points in Tusk Warrior. This was to unlock the Frenzy Totem. Now that I'm not using the Frenzy Totem, you can actually take some of those points back out, like these 4, and put them into the Druid class. In the Shaman, you do have to put 20 points in the Shaman to unlock Avalanche. So we went with 8 points in Shamanic Infusion for that mana regen. We have 2 points in Ancestral Endurance for some health, 2 points in Teutonic Fury for increased attack and cast speed, and then 8 points in Silent Protector for a 120% increased armor with active totem. This one's huge and really helps with the armor. And then for Druid, we have 58 points. We got 5 points in Soul's Attendant, 5 points in Barkskin, 6 points in Blood Claws, 1 point in Healing Totem, 8 points in Blossoming Vines, 7 points in Wood Laurel, 5 points in Ferocity, 5 points in Defense of the Heart, 5 points in Natural Duality, and 6 points in Soothing Slaughter. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some gameplay. The gameplay will be of Wave 145 plus in the arena.